Hi, my name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 main misconceptions about tax sale foreclosure investing. Before we get to the topic, make sure you subscribe right here. So the first misconception is that you'll be able to get a tax sale foreclosure property for really cheap right away. If anybody promises you this, that's a red flag. It is very much possible, but it's kind of like hitting the jackpot, and it's getting more and more difficult to get really good deals. And I always tell my students, it's kind of like going through the thrift store. You can go for weeks and weeks at a time and over again, and you'll never find anything, and then you hit jackpot. You kind of have to just keep on going, and you have to keep on looking and see what's there. Second misconception is that when you go to the tax sale and you ask the officials that are conducting the sale, the government officials, they really don't know what they're talking about. And while we're on this topic, there's a lot of lawyers that also don't know what you're talking about when you tell them about tax sales, and real estate professionals like realtors, brokers. A lot of people just have absolutely no clue. So it is best to find a mentor that knows what they're doing, have been doing it for a long time, or if you find a lawyer that actually specializes in tax sale foreclosures, that's who you need to speak to. But forget about asking any good questions to the government officials, which brings me to my next major misconception about tax sales, which is that all liens are erased. So this is kind of like the gimmick that everybody sells you on. If you get into the tax sale foreclosure process, you're going to be able to buy the property for outstanding taxes, and you won't be responsible for the mortgage or any other liens. That is completely false. And a government official has actually officially taught this or told me this. They even put this on their website. All other liens are erased. For example, the mortgage is erased. That is not true. If you go on my channel right here, I actually have made videos on what kind of mortgages are not erased automatically and how you can circumvent that if you ever run into a problem like that. But also, how can you find out that there's a mortgage that is not erasable by a tax sale? There are exceptions. To be successful in this business, you need to inform yourself. So the last 2 misconceptions about tax sale foreclosures are, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get like 2 or 3 properties and I'm going to rent them out and I'm going to be financially free, and it's going to take me a couple of months, maybe a year or 2, and that's it. That is not it. You're not going to be able to find a property that you'll be able to rent out right away as is. It's very unlikely unless you spend a lot of money, but there is a lot of stuff that you'll have to do in order to get the property that way. For starters, a lot of the properties that go to the tax sale are not in mint condition, and they're a lot of times not in livable condition. And so you have to put some money into them in order to make them livable, if that is your goal. Or you can do what I did in the beginning, is just to buy a whole bunch of them, sell most of them to the next investor for a little bit of a profit, and slowly but surely build up a kind of a cash reserve in order to remodel one. So there is no passive income with real estate anyway. So if anybody tells you that, that's a lie. And the last misconception is that you go to a tax sale and you purchase a property and you think you're done. So what I mean by that is you will have to spend some time and effort and money to do additional legal steps. And what kind of legal steps that you have to do depends on what state you're in, what county, what municipality, and what kind of tax sale you're attending. And it could be very convoluted, and it could take a lot of extra time and years, or it could be pretty quick. So this is why it's very important to inform yourself from the get-go, if you're getting into this business, exactly whether or not it aligns with your strategy on what you want to accomplish with tax sale foreclosure investing. And there you have it. Now you know the 5 main misconceptions about tax sale foreclosure investing. My name's Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your number one source for real estate advice online. Check out my newsletter. send me a message through my website, juliamspencer.com, and I look forward to hear from you.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.
Talk about the 5 misconceptions about tax sale foreclosure investing. The first one is, I made the list. Where did it go? Hold on. So you can go through the thrift store. I can't even say that word today. Thrift store. Always wear a seatbelt. And the last misconception about, now this guy is back in my picture again. I just stopped my video because he went this way. Now he's going that way. Okay, let's start over. You think that you're legally done, another person's walking through my picture here in a second. And whether or not it aligns with your strategy,